I don't know if my ancestors had slaves or not, but if they did, F them.
I don't understand why Donald Trump is spitting in those black voters' faces by putting some of the most painful imagery that you could in the middle of our military.
They have to be proud of who their ancestors were. Not everyone in the South was a slave owner. I'm not trying to diminish that. But these people are the descendants of a group of people who decided to act a certain way, and they have to die.
Tonight, the White House's so-called war on woke goes to West Point. The Pentagon is reinstalling a portrait of Confederate General Robert E. Lee to the Academy's library. The 20-foot painting shows Lee in his Confederate uniform with an enslaved person holding his horse in the background. A congressionally mandated commission ordered it taken down 3 years ago as part of an effort to remove Confederate tributes from the military. This isn't just about a painting. It's about a painting that was meant to lionize the part of Robert E. Lee that we don't like, where he was the Confederate general, where he defended slavery. Not everything about Robert E. Lee was removed from West Point, but this one was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say here. It's heartbreaking to me. There are a lot of great Americans. None of them fought against our own government, period. None of them fought to uphold the enslavement of my ancestors, period. So I don't understand why Donald Trump, who, by the way, has, you know, shocked a lot of people in his ability to appeal to black voters, is spitting in those black voters' faces by putting some of the most painful imagery that you could in the middle of our military, which we all respect and revere. So I just don't like this topic. I don't like him doing this. I know we have to talk about it, but I just want to say, it's hard for me to respect people, and I respect everybody. It's hard for me to respect people who would make the argument that this is the man we should be upholding, that somebody who led military forces against our own government to keep my ancestors enslaved is worthy of this type of treatment and respect. There are other people in America's military whose names have been taken down. Tuskegee Airmen and other people who were taken down, and this is being put up, and it's it's inexcusably bad from my point of view.
Anybody want to?
Was Van like a kindergarten teacher or something? He's so like, everybody play nice, everything's fair, everyone's feeling the same. For any of you that have felt any kind of like intimidation or insecure about speaking publicly or even in a crowd, I think Van Jones should be a little fire under your butt, because look at him. I mean, he stutters, he's not so quick-witted, and look at him, he's on CNN.
I agree with him completely. They removed Harvey Milk, who was gay, and he was a veteran that served and a gay rights activist, and they removed him. And this is a party of cruelty and a party that props up white supremacy. It just truly is. And they can say one thing, but you look at their actions, and they remove military people of color. They remove LGBTQ plus people. And then they prop up a guy that was a traitor to his own country, a Confederate, with a slave in the painting. That's just disrespectful and cruel.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Look at Joe Borelli. Look at Joe Borelli. Like, he looks so intimidated. Oh my God! I've never seen him so obedient like this. So okay, so all it took was a Jennifer Welch to make him shut up, huh? I guess miracles do happen. Funny, because he always has the energy to argue, you know, against her. Huh? I like it. Some arguments aren't worth losing. I feel ya. I mean, he's usually hard to shut up. It's so funny.
It is cruel.
This has been a very specific campaign on the part of this administration. Not just to say, let's leave what's there. They want to restore honors to Confederate figures. I still have a hard time understanding what the real logic of that is.
This particular painting would not be my hill to fight over. It wouldn't be my hill to die on. But to put things maybe in context, to to perhaps broaden the conversation a little bit, there are a lot of Americans out there who trace their ancestry back to the Confederacy as white people. And I think they have to wrestle with their own ancestors, and to some degree, they have to be proud of who their ancestors were. Not everyone in the South was a slave owner. I'm not trying to diminish that. But these people are the descendants of a group of people who decided to act a certain way, and they have to digest that. And it's important to remember that when we solved the Civil War, when the war ended, the government chose not to execute these Confederate leaders. They chose not to jail them, not to execute them, but they went in a period of Reconstruction. And so,
Hold up. Hey Google, why did the government choose not to execute Robert E. Lee?
The key element in this definition was war, and that's the first reason Lee was never tried for treason. Abraham Lincoln refused to consider the conflict with the South a war because, legally speaking, war signified conflict between two sovereign countries, and Lincoln wouldn't recognize Confederate sovereignty.
If there was some balance, perhaps, in the 1860s and 70s and 80s, perhaps there deserves to be some balance now where we have to wrestle with the fact that some white Americans do trace their ancestry back to this period of history.
No, that is not an excuse for doing this. It just isn't. This is so incredibly cruel. This is regressive, and I think we all know for a certain group, part of the electorate, when they say make America great again, they are sending us the messaging of what that is. And we need to talk about it and call it out directly and spot on. There is no excuse for that. I don't know if my ancestors had slaves or not, but if they did, F them. Truly, I don't need to go reconcile that. I don't need a piece of art to see a black person degraded and not considered a full human being.
Can I add one piece of context before you come in here? This is according to military.com, and this is true. The portrait that was removed and is now being reinstalled was first hung in 1952. So good long ways after the Civil War, during a high point for the Lost Cause movement that seeks to recast the Confederacy's fight as a heroic struggle unrelated to slavery. So if this is about what is history and are we remembering it the right way, this is historical revisionism, this painting.
Look, I mean, I think that there are people, to your point, who feel that there's some movement to make white people feel ashamed and that they should be shamed and blamed and that they have to hold their heads down or whatever, and people resist that.
Whose side is Van really on? I'm so confused by him. What is he sticking up for? Because he'll say, yeah, I'm ashamed, but it's not their fault. He's just a soft cushion for every which way possible. I'm really confused about who he's against or who he's with or what.
I think that is a big misunderstanding on the part of people who feel that way. First of all, there are a lot of white Americans who should be celebrated. Some of them, frankly, were slave owners. You know what those people are? Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. The idea that somebody, because they were a slave owner, can't have honor in this country is defied by, just go to Washington, D.C. and look at all the memorials to those people. But when you take up arms and you start killing people to make sure that other people don't have freedom in a country that's about freedom, you remove yourself from the conversation of people who should be celebrated. And that is not the same as saying white people should be ashamed. It's saying this is a shameful part of the American story that we should not try to sugarcoat.
All right, gotta leave it there. Next for us.
Okay, not too sure where that went, but okay, yeah, it's not to say that white people should be shamed, but unless you're pulling this kind of crap, then yeah, there should be a whole lot of shame. I mean, why are you trying to what is their end game here? What is their end game? What do they think? They're using this as some kind of scarecrow? Like, oh, if we just put up pictures of slavery, they'll scare them, they'll be scared off or something? Are we supposed to disappear? Or do they want us to just run away from all these, big, bad, stupid paintings or something? Or what the heck? I don't even think they have an end game in mind, because that's way too advanced for anybody in this administration to think ahead for. I mean, these people don't think ahead, clearly. I don't think they have an end game because they're just so short-tempered, short-minded. I mean, it's like, what's the deal? They don't have a freaking plan. I doubt they've ever planned anything in their lives, except to go drinking on the weekend or something. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling there, but are you hating that Robert E. Lee portrait? Especially It's like comedic, but like not funny. But like, especially one painted in the 1950s with a freaking slave in it. This is not about history. It's about myth making. More of this myth making. The Lost Cause movement, you know, always tried to rebrand the Confederacy as noble, tragic heroes, when in reality, they were straight up traitors, fighting to keep human beings enslaved. To put that painting back in a place meant to train the future US military leaders is like saying, this version of history, where a man who fought against America and for slavery is honored, is the version we want you to look up to. And you know that Pete Kegseth and Stephen Little Wussy Miller is behind that. I mean, that's not neutral. That's straight political. And like Jennifer said, it's cruel. It's seriously cruel. Because it's not just an image, it's a message to Black cadets, LGBTQ plus cadets, cadets of color. Your place in America's story is negotiable, but Confederates still get respect. That's what they're trying to say. What really stands out to me is the hypocrisy, of course. What is anything Trump without hypocrisy, right? The same people shouting about patriotism and respecting the troops are propping up a man who literally led an armed rebellion against the United States. It's the exact opposite of patriotism, quite literally. So if I boil it down, again, I feel like this is all my videos are turning out to be this way, but it's not about remembering history, it's about rewriting it. It's not about patriotism, it's about nostalgia for white supremacy, which is not a cute look. And it's not subtle. It's deliberate cruelty dressed up as tradition or whatever the hell. That's why it matters though, because symbols shape culture and culture shapes power. Alright, anyways, subscribe, like this video. We've got plenty more to come. I know MAGA is going to be all up in the comments, but bring it, because I challenge you. I challenge you to bring a decent discussion to the comment box, not just... My favorite comment today was, "No one's paying attention to you." Funny, because you commenting that, I mean, you are proving yourself wrong because you're paying attention to me. You're what? Oh, you MAGA. Oh my god. Keep at it, please. I highly encourage MAGA to just bring their best, because it's been entertaining more than anything, and very easy to debunk, to just be like, okay. Like, they don't really make points, really. They just say TD, whatever the hell, TDS, or they just say stupid things like nobody's paying attention to you. It's like, really? All these people in the comments are, but okay, that's fine. I mean, if you don't want the, if you feel better me being like, oh, gee willikers, they're not, then fine. Because MAGA are the biggest wusses in all of human existence. Prove me otherwise. Let's see all the feelings that don't get hurt by speaking the truth.
They got your data, dumbass.
Do not come. Do not come.